Hello everyone. Welcome to day 2. Hi Jill. All right, come jump onto your video if you can. This is how it's going to be the most fun is being here, being present. I'll give everyone a minute here to jump in. Jill, how are you feeling after yesterday?
Yesterday was awesome,
Good.
but I have to be honest, I just did it. But I did it.
You did it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I wanted to have so you know where it says what you are, like if you're an entrepreneur or any of that kind of stuff. And then I looked at some other people that do the same thing as I do, and everybody's is so different. Like some people put education, some people put entrepreneur, some people put holistic wellness. I mean, how important is that?
Yeah, so you were checking out like the differences. Let's circle back to this because I think,
Okay.
part of it is you want to choose something that's broad enough to speak
Hmm.
to a lot of people. It's sort of different than like when you're creating your offer or your messaging for your business where you want to, niche down and all of that stuff. When it comes to being on social media and online, you actually want to broaden out. Same with podcast because you want to have a
Okay.
wider net. You're gathering more people in. So what I would say is be specific, but not like overly specific unless you need to be. So that's kind of what I would say when you're looking at those other profiles. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways and versions, right? And were those people like how many followers did they have? Like where were they at?
Hmm. I don't know. I didn't even look, but
Okay,
but
so that would
what
be
we
good
talked about
information to track.
yesterday, you were saying there it's not for selling. So
Right.
I mean, really, then you're educating,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
maybe I'll go with that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely be in the education frame of mind. It's
Hmm.
gonna work way better for you. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, cool. So let's dive in to day 2 of the visibility challenge. All right. So I want to kind of just dive in right away. So our goal for today, I want to really help you guys in terms of like repurposing and multiplying your best content. So that way it reaches 10 times more people. We talked about that yesterday around just not really, there's visibility and then there's engagement. Literally, probably 80% of the time, I'm talking about engagement because that's super important to convert people into clients and things like that. But I do feel like there's a really important reason to actually talk about visibility and reach. So that's what we're going to talk about today is reaching 10 times more people without 10 times more work, which I know none of us have time to 10x the hours we're putting in for the most part. So we started yesterday with a little bit of a mindset shift around value, time, and money. And today, what we want to look at is just how visibility grows when your message spreads really beyond your social media page, right? And so this is about what you're living, how you're living your life, like sharing that. And so we're going to do this little shift, which takes you from looking at yourself as a creator and actually moving yourself into being a documenter and a distributor. Okay, so this is a huge shift. And when actually shifted this for myself, I fell in love with doing social media again. And I wasn't like, oh, this is like a task that I feel like I have to do, or, something that I feel like I need to show up on just for my business. It was like all of a sudden I like kind of put the soul back into it. And I was like, this is why I started doing this in the first place was to actually just document my life and have a place where I can go back and see what's going on. But the cool thing is when you actually show up as a documenter, then people are more interested as well. People want to see your real life. They don't want to just see like the highlight reel of what's happening. And that's what everyone else is doing and why people are getting lower and lower engagement. Um, so that's the mindset shift going from creator, right? We all kind of are like, oh, I'm a social media creator, whatever. No, like put that to the side. That's not you. Again, if you are a social media influencer, maybe that's something different. But for everyone that's here, you're a documenter. You're just documenting your life, the results you're getting, what the work that you're doing, the people that you're in relationship with, and then you're a distributor. So the distributor part is usually where, being a documenter, we've all kind of grown up with phones and cameras and stuff like that. So I feel like that's an easier hat to put on and be like, okay, yeah, I can do that. That sounds fun. But distributor, it might be like, huh? So that's what I want to lean into for today is showing you how to leverage AI to amplify your voice and help you distribute that documentation process that you're doing. So ideally, this should really keep you in your zone of genius. This should keep you doing the things that you love doing most and just kind of remembering, oh, I should document this. Like instead of being like, oh, I have to do this perfect thing for social media. So, um, I want to just check in before we dive deep into that around have you thought about our call from yesterday? Have you thought about, if you are you finding, are you looking for value in new ways? Are you talking about your time differently? Are you, thinking about how you can create cash by giving value? So curious on your guys' thoughts around that. How has today been in relationship to that conversation yesterday? And you can go ahead and just put it in the chat. And as you guys are doing that, what I want to dive into today. So, as we talked about this yesterday, we ended on looking at stats. And a lot of people said, I am not usually someone to look at stats. Like this feels, kind of weird. It feels different. I don't know how I'm liking it, right? So I want to kind of look at that identity shift that happened as well around where you currently at. Are you someone that is, you know, maybe wanting to become more visible, but you're not really tracking what that would look like? Where are you currently at in your business? Let's take a moment here just to get real. So I want you to just write down on a piece of paper. This is just for you, but what is actually happening in your business? So I'm going to give you just 30 seconds to journal on that. What is actually happening in your business? If you were to take a mirror, this isn't for you to show to social media. This isn't for you to show a, a prospective client, nothing like that. It's just for you to get really crystal clear with where you're at currently. As you're doing this, you can add in like how you feel about where you're at. Just use this as a time to self-reflect. I know that some of the most valuable calls I've been on are ones where I actually just have a little time. I've committed to being there for an hour. I'm like, okay, I'm in, I'm here. And when the host of the call gives me just a few minutes to journal, sometimes that's really the thing that I needed was just a little space. Because I know we all came in here being like, I am busy. I don't have time for this. And so you're probably saying that to yourself and to your business ideas too, right? That might be something that you're just kind of it's just a normal thing for you to say. So I want to give you this time and space to just have that reflection moment. And then the next question, we're going to do three questions here to kind of be able to put this all into action with our training portion after this. But number two is what is this vision? Like, why are you even showing up here? Why are you watching the replay? Why are you doing this visibility challenge? Where in this why, where do you want to be in 6 months, 1 year, and 3 years? And I know for every single person, there's one of those stages, whether it's 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years, there's one of those that it's going to feel really uncomfortable. The other two, you'll be like, I can kind of see a vision. And there might be one where you're like, I just really don't know. And sometimes it's just the phase of life that we're in. I know for me right now, it feels easier to see a 1 and a 3 year goal and vision than it is to see a 6 month vision. I'm like, 6 months, that seems like I don't know what's gonna happen, but I have like a good sense of what's gonna happen in a year or 3 years. But there's been other times in my life, other people that I've worked with where it's the opposite. And you're like, I definitely know what's happening in 6 months, but I have no idea what's happening in 3 years. So I just ask you to stretch yourself and just write something down. It doesn't have to happen perfectly. It doesn't need to play out like that. We don't have to pretend to be God or anything like that. But just what's within you, what's present when you think about that timeline. And when you think about your business, how do you want that to be growing? The types of clients that you want to be working with, the kind of income you want to be bringing in for maybe you or your team, the kind of impact that you want to be having. These are all things that you can add into that vision. And then, okay, let's see. You guys ready to move forward on to next number three? Okay, so number three, let's go into the cost of inaction. This is one of the most valuable leverage pulling questions that I always ask myself, which is what's going to happen if I don't take action on this? What would be the other thing that happens in 6 months or a year or 3 years if I don't take action on becoming more visible? If I don't take action on the goals and the vision that I have for my business and life? Again, this is just for you. You don't need to share it with anyone. So I encourage you to be as real as possible and really just take this valuable time because we don't get this every day. I know we're running from one call, one meeting to the next, taking care of everyone else, right? And sometimes we forget to have this time to take care of ourselves. So when it comes to the cost of inaction, you also can ask yourself, what's the shadow that's blocking you? You know, what's the biggest lie that's blocking you? What's the thing that is getting in the way? Because there's something, and for some reason, you've actually given that like the deciding power, which is fine. It's gotten you to where you are, right? So one thing we can do is just release any shame or guilt or anything like that, but just be real with what is that thing that is stopping me from moving forward? What is the thing that's creating the inaction? So that might be a mindset, that might be a relationship, that might be some habits. We're just doing a real good mirror check. And, I have been in so many trainings about growing your online presence. And honestly, I think they're missing this piece because what's going to happen if you grow your online presence, but you don't take this time to have this self-awareness check, it's going to grow what's already happening. And if you don't like what's already happening and you start becoming more visible, that might be a really ugly thing that you start putting out there. And you might start to get that feedback and you might be like, wait, that's not even me. But it's just because you didn't take the time to kind of clean up your own situation. I'm not saying it's like you have to make these huge life changes. I mean, you just need to take the time to have that self-reflection so that way you know what you're about to amplify and put out there is true to who you are today. Too often we are connected to an identity that is our past identity. So we're making decisions from a past self, but not who you actually are right now, who's like a strong leader, you're, making good decisions, you're doing the right habits. But sometimes we just start deciding from the past. So I want to just take this time to have this anchoring moment for you, to have this mirror check, this reality check. So that way you can feel really strong and secure with magnifying that. And I want to share a story here as we're doing this because this has nothing to do with where you're at in business, how long you've been in business, how much money you're making. We have had clients come in that are doing 7, 8, 9 figures. And you would see from the outside, it would seem like they have this totally dialed in, but then we just we're helping them start a podcast, or we're getting them out. We're like, okay, are you ready? Let's go. And all of a sudden they shrink and they're like, wait, like this thing is coming up. This thing is happening. And what we found was at first we weren't addressing this. And we were just like, let's just get technical. Come on, we have the keys to unlock your visibility, your success, your next level. Like we know the buttons to press. We've done it before. We're like, why aren't they wanting to do it? And through deeper conversations, and that's happening like like for many, many clients in a row, we're like, wait, there's something else happening here. And it's this visibility check. You cannot become visible. You cannot take those actions, those steps, and press those buttons if you're not feeling like totally secure here. So, you guys want a good story? This is going to put it all into perspective. Okay, here comes someone that I personally look up to. I watch her YouTube. I listen to all of her podcasts. I'm just all about this certain leader. I'm not going to name names, but I'm all about her, right? And I ended up meeting her at an event. And prior to this event, I had already like fangirled her. I had sent her messages, DMs, like just because I was so inspired by her stuff. I'm like, this is amazing. And she's like sending me like very few replies back. And I'm like, oh boy, this just got really awkward. So I end up at an event with her. And I'm like, okay, I'm either going to be the awkward girl that's like not going up to her, or I just have to totally own that like I've sent her way too many messages that she hasn't replied to, but like I'm just going to like laugh it off and play it off like it's funny. And so I choose number two. Which thank God I did. I go right up to her. I'm like, I'm that girl that's been stalking you. Like, and she just laughs and we laugh. And I'm like, I'm sorry I sent a lot of messages. I just honestly loved your content. Like, I was just truly inspired by it. And she's like, oh, thank you. And all the weirdness goes away. Okay, fast forward, we end up becoming friends because she's like, you're hilarious. Like, that's so funny that you sent me all those messages and then you just came right up to me. Like, I love that. So, side note is like, just be bold and do the silly, stupid thing that, no one else is willing to do. Because I was like, for sure sweating. Like, I was not like put together, like, I was so nervous. So I do this, but fast forward. I think it only took 6 months. She ends up coming to me and saying, Ray, I want to hire you to help me with my podcast. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is the coolest thing ever. So the story gets better. So I know now we have a sales call in the books, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, Sammy, you got to be on the call with me because otherwise I'm just going to fangirl. And like, I got to, like, okay, we got to really deliver. This is going to be amazing. And so fast forward, we end up putting the sales call like it's like 2 weeks, 2 weeks ahead. I end up breaking my leg before the sales call happened. If some of you have followed me on social media, I broke my leg in February. So I ended up breaking my leg and I am in the hospital on all kinds of medications. I have just gotten out of surgery and I am like, I am doing this sales call. I am not rescheduling it because that's how obsessed I am, And like, I'm like, she's very busy. Like, so I'm like, I'm showing up. So I am there in the hospital bed and I end up actually getting on the sales call in my robe, all drugged up, and end up closing her. She becomes a client. Hooray. But hilarious story, right? So, anyways, fast forward, we are ramping her brand up. It is exploding. It's like there's so many cool things happening, and I'm talking like in the millions of views and downloads and this type of stuff. And we're like, this is so cool. It's amazing. And she just starts shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. And we're doing this very pivotal shift of going from her being anchored as it talking about one thing, and we're switching her to talk about a more specific thing out of this whole general area. Like she was kind of talking about life. We wanted her to talk about finance and money. Now you might be thinking, okay, well that sounds pretty easy. Yeah, especially because she had grown a huge business doing 9 figures worth of business. Like actually, I think even she was doing billions, billions of dollars in her business. Okay. So we're like, this makes sense to me as a marketer. I'm like, I think you should be talking about money. I think you have a lot to talk about here and you could help a lot of people. So she starts shrinking, shrinking, and we get on a call. Finally, I realize she ends up sharing how she doesn't feel worthy to be actually talking about money. And it's like, wait, what? But here's the thing. No matter what stage you're at, you're always going to have a next vision. You're always going to see yourself as like, I want to attain this next thing, this next thing. And so I just, for her, that's what was getting in her way was this level of, this super high standard that she was holding herself at, thinking that everything needed to be in this sort of like perfection, like this perfect, space. And then she was really worried about some of her relationships. And there's so many other components, other things underneath the surface. So I'm telling you this story because I wanted you to kind of think about what else is underneath my surface? Like, why wouldn't I just go for the thing that I know I could talk about? Right. So whether that's health or whatever, what is the thing that people are saying? Why don't you have a show about that? Why don't you talk more about this? There's something within you that's saying, I can't yet. And that's what I really want to just like sort out. And I wanted to give a little bit of space on this call to go into because again, I do have like some strategy and some very tactical stuff, just like we did yesterday. But I know that there's no way that you will actually do it unless we unearth some of this stuff. Because otherwise, you guys wouldn't even be on this call, listening to the recording. It probably you wouldn't even be in our school community, right? So you're here for a reason, and I want to make sure that we don't keep you where you were at, when you started or when you stepped into this school community. We want to make sure we're moving everyone forward, and this is the thing that I know we can do. Okay, so there's a little wrap up of story time. Let's see. Put in the chat and if you are here and you want to jump on to video, definitely come join us, join the party. But put into the chat a 1 if this is resonating for you. I want to hear. I want to see. Is this resonating? Is this kind of opening up something that is making you think? Because that's what I do best. And to be honest, if you can get into this place where you're actually taking this time to think about yourself, I encourage you to do this for your people as well. Do this for your audience as well. Okay. So let's dive into the training portion of this. So we want to go into 3 steps for AI driven reach expansion. All right. So step number 1, identify your anchor message. An anchor message is the core message that you want to share across your platforms. Okay. I have a whole other deeper training in terms of like how to do your anchor message. We may end up adding that into the school community if people here say, please add it in. Um, but you want to just understand what is that anchor message, and I want you to actually go to your profile, the one that we were working on yesterday, and I want you to see, do you have one post that describes this anchor message, this core message that you want to be sharing across your platforms? It's the thing that you kind of want to keep talking about. I'll give you an example for Sammy and I, it's probably going to be something around sharing your story, right? That's like a key anchor message. I believe that it's important to share your story to multiply your impact because I don't think any one person has gone through the trials and tribulations that they've gone through just to come out of it on the other side, like succeeding. I think we go through those trials and tribulations and we go through it and succeed to then share that story to help others. So I talk about that in podcasting, in business, I talk about that in life. What is that anchor message? And do you have one post, just one that talks about it? I want you to grab that post and I want you to just ask yourself, what belief or transformation did that spark? What belief or transformation does that spark in my audience? So we want to make sure that this is a little same thing. We just did this sort of mirror check with yourself and visibility. Now we're doing a mirror check with your profile as well and what you've been posting. So mirror check, what transformation did it spark? Did it spark a transformation that is going to inspire someone to take action with you in business? If no, then we got to tweak it a little bit, right? If yes, then you're on the money because you want to make sure that this is actually turning into a funnel for your business, right? That's super important as well. So, number one, what belief or transformation did it spark? Number two, why did people even connect with it? If you can understand why someone's connecting with your content, then you know what to make more of and what to make less of. So, what you're going to do after you answer those two questions, what belief or transformation did it spark and why did people connect with it? Then I want you to actually take that answer and I want you to put that into your chat along with that post specifically and also this AI prompt that I'm going to put into the Zoom chat here. And I'll read it out for anyone that's watching the replay. So the AI prompt is take this caption and create three new versions, one carousel script, one short video hook, and one quote post that will resonate with, and then insert your ideal audience. Okay. This is how we start to expand the content that is working and reach more people quickly without uh, working 10 times more. Okay. So let's see. Jill, are you doing this step by step? Do you want to share what's coming up?
Okay, so can you hear me? So
Yep.
take what it says, take this caption. What caption?
So the caption is going to be the post, the one post that you feel resonates most
Oh,
that
I
you've
see. Okay.
already done.
Oh, okay.
Um, yep, that resonates most with your anchor message. And let's be honest, if you're on here watching the replay, you might be like, wow, I'm recognizing I don't have an anchor message in any of my posts. And if that's something that you're seeing, again, we're just gathering information. Where are we at, right? It kind of comes back to where am I at now? Where do I want to be? And what's getting in the way, right?
So I feel like a lot of mine, I'm educating people, kind of like what I do, the way I live my life. Um, and then they comment on it. But then you say, are these people coming clients? So then that's just like, okay. You know what I mean? I mean, everything you keep saying, it's like big old question mark light bulb on top of my head. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So
okay.
so I mean, you're in the perfect place to just you're sort of tracking and analyzing right now, right? You're like you're taking in what I'm saying and then you're looking at your stuff. You're like, "Okay, I see there's things that might want to shift." You're like, "But are you also kind of seeing sort of the potential of where things can be going now?"
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I just want to help everyone with really is because I think so many people are actually they're doing the work. They're putting in the hours, they're putting in the post, they're putting in those reps. They're just sort of missing that strategic mark to make it actually make sense. So it is monetizing, it is multiplying, it is creating impact. Like it's actually doing the thing that we're talking about. So okay, so for now, Jill, what I want you to do is just take your favorite post. So it doesn't have to be your anchor story. Just take your favorite post, the one that resonates with you most, or it
Okay.
might be, one that did get a lot of engagement. It usually is kind of two of the same. And go ahead and try out this AI prompt
So you put the
around.
whole caption in there?
I would actually just take yeah, I would just take the whole caption, like whatever you posted on that copy, and just
Okay.
put it right into Chat GPT and then
Okay.
add this prompt into it
Okay.
as well.
Perfect. Do you want are we supposed to do this now or do this later?
Yeah, go ahead and do it now because let's see how it comes up. Sometimes my favorite thing to do is to share these AI tricks and then watch someone's eyes go, oh, like, oh, this is cool. It's gratifying for sure. So let me know if you got that and if you have any other questions. Okay, Christina got some good ideas. Christina, do you want to come off mute and what makes it a good idea? What was resonating with it?
I'm uh, I'm in my car, so I think it's probably
You're
better if I
okay.
don't have the video on. But so I have a pinned post. It's not a great photo. I know it's something I need to redo, but my message in it was let's see, despite being in great shape, I couldn't get rid of the bloating and looking pregnant. And they said create 3 new versions, write your thing for my target audience. And so it gave me a carousel script. It said, ever feel like you're doing everything right, but still look 3 months pregnant after meals. Slide 2, I worked out, I ate clean and managed stress, yet the bloating never left. Slide 3, it wasn't about willpower, it was my hormones and gut talking. And then it kind of goes into estrogen, cortisol, kind of goes into a little bit more in-depth stuff of what I do, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
And then it gave me a short video hook. So it's kind of like you pulling on fitted jeans, dancing in the mirror, kind of a thing, which is kind of funny. And then I was fit, I ate healthy, but my belly told another story. Turns out it wasn't food, it was hormones and gut imbalances. And then you can look strong and still be inflamed, learn how to reset from the inside, and then kind of redirect towards my um, target audience, I suppose, or my program. And then I have like a quote post. You can still be in shape and still feel off. Healing isn't about tightening, it's about tuning in. So I thought those were all like really clever hooks, if you will.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing. And it's fun because it gives you a lot of stuff to play with. It doesn't mean that you can just copy and paste that and post it up, right? But if anything, use AI as a creative brainstorming like friend or or employee even. Um, and it might give you ideas like even one-liners where you're like, "Oh, I really like that. Like, let me start with that and then write from there." So that's one way that I really love to use ChatGPT. I have a whole process in terms of creating and building out your own copywriter, so that way you and your team can go in and it already knows like the parameters around how you like to write, and depending on the profiles or platforms, it tweaks it a little bit. We sort of talked about that yesterday, how Facebook to Instagram to LinkedIn, they're going to be all slightly different because it's a different audience and platform. So use it as a creative brainstormer for these types of things for right now. And then you can kind of play with it from there. One thing I want to take and go into like level 2 with this is going to be, so we just identified sort of this like anchor message, and then we expanded it, right? And they'll broke it out into a bunch of different pieces of content. Now, we just asked it to do 3 versions because I didn't want it to overwhelm you guys, but we literally could do 10 versions right there. And all of a sudden you are 10xing the content that you're building, right? People like to consume stuff in different ways. We can't imagine that everyone likes to consume things the way that we like to write things, right? So it actually is really helpful to break it into different carousels or videos or photos or captions and do a variety of things because you never know who's going to resonate with one of those over another. So that's a way that I like to kind of broaden the reach in terms of clientele, because sometimes if we're just doing things that we love, then we're going to just attract people that are very similar to us. And that's fun, that's easy. But when you want to make more of an impact, you actually need to start reaching people that you might not be doing the same, you might not be as similar. You might be pretty different. And so you want to make sure that you're actually inviting them into your world as well. So that's one way that I like to do this. So now if we can 10x the amount of content that you're creating without recreating, right? Spending all that time. Now I want to do the same thing, but repurposing it on 3 different formats. So once you've got your message, then you can use your AI tools to adapt it really pretty fast. So I'm going to give you one. So that is short form video. You can use our favorite AI is Opus Clip or CapCut. So these are auto edit. You can like edit reels with captions, or you can do jump cuts depending on how advanced you want to get. You can keep it really simple in there too. But I wanted to just share some of those favorite AI tools that I have for short form video. So again, that's Opus Clip or CapCut. Then for visuals, I already said this on the last call, but I really do love Canva. I think that is such an easy, consumer-friendly way to play around with different visuals. So what you can do is you can turn that text that you just wrote out into actual carousels that are, visually branded and like look visually appealing. Okay, so we got the short form video, we can do visuals, and then you can do audio to content. So that's going to be sort of more similar to like a podcast or things like that, where it's actually your voice. And if you're wanting to do that, you can use Descript as an AI tool to help you take out, like extract highlights from a longer form video, or you can also auto generate reels from longer form videos. So that's ways that you can do that, and you can also do that just for the audio if it's not a video as well. So I just wanted to give you guys some fun AI tools to play with if you want to dive into that. And really, like, the thing is, it's like systems. The best system is the one that you're going to use, right? So same thing with AI. I'm just throwing these out there because everyone comes in at different levels. But the thing is, I just want you to do whatever you're going to use now for the stage that you're in. Don't worry, you're already plugged into Sammy and I's world, and we're obsessed with AI. So we're going to continue to keep you guys up to date and keep you posted with what to use there. So don't feel like you need to grab it all right now. Like, we'll continue as you guys continue to show up to the calls and the meetings. We'll continue to be there for you. All right. So lastly, number 3 is expand through connection. So visibility compounds through collaboration and engagement, right? So it's relational. So just remember, if there's an opportunity for you to tag 2 to 3 aligned leaders or partners in your post, always do that. That's always going to help expand the audiences and your visibility. You can also comment on 10 accounts that your ideal clients already follow. These are just some other ways outside of this, like one post, but comment on accounts that your ideal client already follows. Like, go to those audiences where your client is hanging out. There's some crazy wild ways that you can have AI do this for you. We're not going to get into that, but just start to think like, okay, wow. Like, so for instance, a great example would be, if you guys know Jenna Kutcher, she does podcast stuff. She does online brand building. She's a mom. She likes to like do mom things. I would say like for me, I'm like, I like to have my brand sort of similar to hers. And so I know that actually she's going to have a lot of my ideal clients there, that she has a much bigger business. She doesn't get to like do these types of calls anymore, or like, support smaller cohorts and masterminds. We're still a little bit smaller, right? So there's added bonuses. So if I go over to her page and I start commenting and engaging, there's probably going to be people that are, interested in her services and wanting to, understand podcasting, and they've gone to her because she has a bigger brand, but they actually might want something that's more intimate and more like, personalized and supported. So they might see, oh wow, okay, here's this Ray girl like doing these podcasts, right? So again, you just kind of want to identify who are those other people that are doing what you and they don't have to necessarily be doing what you're doing. That was just with that example. Another example would be maybe me posting, commenting on someone that has a book publishing agency. I don't publish books, right? But if I go there, I'm probably thinking, if they've published a book, they probably want to grow a personal brand. Well, a good next stage after having a book out, or even before, would be to have a podcast. So that way you're engaging your audience in that type of audio way. So just start to think like, who would be a good partner? Who could even be a JV partner, a joint venture partner, who could have already built out an audience where my ideal clients are just hanging out and they're actually looking for me. Go to them, go fish in that pond. And then you can always drop, new posts inside of any communities that you're in to get more visibility. So same thing with school. Here's like over 100 people that are all wanting to do the same thing. Go share what you're doing here. This is a smaller group. It's an engaged community. It's not like social media where like anyone can be in. Like we accept or deny members, right? So if you've been accepted, like there's certain criteria that you've reached to come in here. So use these types of communities to get engaged, or better yet, start your own. But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole yet, but you can start your own, right? So I want to give you one more AI prompt before we wrap up here. And this will help you find those types of synergistic places or ponds or Instagram handles or whatever you want to do. You can change this prompt to say Facebook accounts if you would like. But the AI prompt is list 10 Instagram accounts my ideal client likely follows and suggest one personalized comment I could leave on their post. Okay, easy. Again, I like to share, the mindset and what I'm thinking about first before going right into the AI post, because I do want us to be engaged and actively using our brains. That's super important. But also we can use AI to help shortcut this process as well. Okay, so as we do that, I want to wrap up here with reconnecting with your future vision, that one that you started with on the beginning of the call. And I just want you to ask yourself again, why will it matter if I get more visibility? Why is it important for me, for my clients, for my community, and for my family? So, and oh, in the world, I knew there was 5. There we go. So let me ask this one more time. Why will it matter if I gain more visibility? Why is it important for me, my clients, my community, my family, and the world? And I think if you can ask those questions, that's going to help get you some really good motivation to start doing these very simple things. So day 2 challenge, I'm going to kind of recap here. You picked one anchor post or some of your favorite content, and then you used AI to repurpose it into 3 formats, which again, you could do this and repurpose it into 10 formats if you want to 10x what you're creating, right? Then what I'm going to invite you all to do is post 1 or 2 of those other formats today. Let's just get into action. So go ahead and just post 1 or 2 of those other formats. And then again, I'm going to invite you to share a screenshot of that into the visibility wins thread. So I'm going to actually just share directly right into the chat here, the visibility wins thread. So that way we can all be connected there. And I would love to see some of these screenshots. I think it would be pretty amazing. All right, here's the exact post. I'm going to put this right here in the chat so you can go right in there and feel free again. I love anchoring in the wins that you're getting throughout this. This is going to help you anchor in that ROI that you're going to be getting as well, whether it's ROI and visibility or ROI and new clients finding you, right? Build up these wins. So go ahead and go right now, go into the school community, onto that post, and go ahead and put one win that you've got from this call. Okay. So I think we're going to wrap up there. Let me see. I'm going to double check my notes and see if there's anything else that we had for today. Oh yeah, here. I knew I had a few more AI. I have one more AI prompt that I wanted to give you guys. This is a fun one. Sort of how we ended on a fun one last night as well, or yesterday. This is a momentum booster. Act as my content strategist. Based on this post, again, that same anchor post that we used earlier, act as my content strategist. Based on this post, suggest 5 micro topics I could create next week that align with my niche and keywords. Okay? Amazing, right? 5 new topics. That's 5 new posts that you can do. And trust me, usually what we're doing is we're talking as an expert. You're talking about like maybe Christine's health. It's like weight loss, right? There's so many micro topics in there. But if you're ever stumped, you're like, I don't know what to post next. You just use this prompt and come up with the micro content pieces and start talking about those. That's how you build out really being an educator too, right? Jill kind of comes back to that. It's like you're really going deep in your content and you're not gatekeeping. That's going to actually bring you way more clients than if you're just kind of keeping them on the surface. Like bring them in and then watch how they're going to be like, hey, can I come in more? Actually, I want more of this. Like this is working for me. Let me see this. So okay, the last prompt that I have for you, this is not an AI prompt. This is a prompt for you to think about to end and wrap up this day 2 of our visibility challenge is what shifted when you started seeing your content assets multiply today. So in using this AI, like what happened? What shifted in you and possibly your belief around your vision that you have for yourself and your business in 6 months, 1 year, or 3 years? Was there anything that shifted? Did it feel a little bit more possible, a little bit more hopeful? Yeah, Jill's like, yes. So that's what I wanted to give you guys today because it is a long game thing, right? To have these longer term goals. But I want to just show you like this is totally possible, right? Like it's not far off. I know sometimes we goal set and we're like, you might shrink back your goal because you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna reach it. I want you to like state your goal. Like say, no, this is it. I'm not gonna shrink it back because I don't know if it's possible or not. It shouldn't actually feel possible. First of all, I'm always gonna bring like faith and like God and the supernatural in. I think your goals should always be a God-sized goal. It should not be possible in your own strength and with what you already have. It should stretch you to have to grow and shift and also surrender and have like other people come in and have God come in, have supernatural miracles come in to help you achieve those goals. So I hope this was a blessing for all of you. Yes, no more wasting time. Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. And it all comes back to these 3 things that we talked about on day 1, right? The time piece. And so you get to really anchor in like, yeah, no, I don't waste time. And I have plenty of it because I'm not wasting it. Right? I'm being a good steward. I'm being present with my time. I'm using my time. I am multiplying my time. That's been a new fun one. I've been kind of trying on this belief like, well, if we can multiply content, can't I multiply time? No, again, we're not playing God here, but we can. And it's by being efficient and being productive, right? So there are some pieces there that I wanted to leave you guys. Go ahead and leave your wins in the chat, and I will see you all tomorrow for day 3. We'll be wrapping it up there. All right. Have a good one. Good night.